Here's something that might surprise you. Depression physically shrinks parts of our brain, almost like a muscle that's not being used. The science behind this is absolutely fascinating.
That's such a powerful way to think about it. How exactly does this physical change happen in the brain?
Well, it's pretty remarkable. Studies show that key areas like the hippocampus, which handles memory and learning, can actually reduce in size. Think of it like a garden where certain areas start wilting when they don't get enough nutrients.
So when someone says depression is all in their head, they're technically right, but not in the way they mean it.
Exactly right. And you know what's really interesting? It's not just about size. There's this whole chemical symphony happening with neurotransmitters like serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine getting thrown out of balance.
Oh wow, so it's like the brain's messaging system is getting scrambled.
That's a perfect way to put it. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. Scientists have discovered that inflammation in the brain might be playing a huge role too. It's like there's a physical storm happening up there.
You know, that reminds me of how people with depression often describe feeling physically exhausted. I guess now we know why their brains are literally working differently.
Right, and brain imaging studies have shown these amazing before and after pictures, where areas that should light up with pleasure stay dim, while regions processing negative emotions become hyperactive. It's like having a car where the gas pedal and brakes aren't working quite right.
So what happens to things like concentration and memory when the brain is going through all this?
Well, imagine trying to read a book in a room where someone keeps dimming and brightening the lights. That's kind of what's happening. The prefrontal cortex, our brain's CEO, isn't able to manage tasks as effectively.
But there's hope, right? I mean, these changes aren't permanent?
That's one of the most exciting parts. The brain has this incredible ability to heal and rebuild. Studies show that with proper treatment, whether it's medication, therapy, or both, many of these changes can be reversed.
Like renovation work on an old house, you can actually restore and improve things?
Exactly. And here's something really cool. Exercise has been shown to boost the production of new brain cells and reduce inflammation. Some studies suggest it can be as effective as medication for mild to moderate depression.
That's fascinating. What about new treatments being developed?
Oh man, this is where it gets really interesting. Scientists are exploring things like ketamine therapy, which can actually promote new neural connections, and non-invasive brain stimulation techniques that can help regulate brain activity.
It sounds like we're finally starting to understand depression as more than just an emotional state.
You know what's really powerful about all this research? It completely changes the conversation around depression. When you understand that someone's brain is literally structured and functioning differently, it becomes much harder to say things like, just snap out of it.
That must be so validating.
Snap out of it.
That must be so validating for people who've struggled to explain their experience to others.
Absolutely. And it's leading to better treatments too. We're seeing more personalized approaches that take into account both the biological and psychological aspects of depression. Some clinics are even using brain imaging to guide treatment decisions.
This whole conversation really shows how complex depression is. It's not just in someone's head, but it literally changes their head.
And that's really the key takeaway here. Depression is a real physical condition that deserves real, comprehensive treatment. The brain changes we've discussed today aren't just interesting science, they're a roadmap to better understanding and treating this condition.
And hopefully to helping more people get the support they need.
Exactly. The more we understand about these brain changes, the better equipped we are to help people heal and recover. It's not just about managing symptoms anymore, it's about actually helping the brain rebuild and restore itself.